Quad-core battle, AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition vs Intel Core i3-8100. Today we will compare the two processors. What they have in common is that both of them have 4 honest computing cores and 4 computing threads. They also have another personal quality in common, both of them working in the same office machine. In 2009, a computer based on a top-end AMD processor was purchased, and in 2020, this office machine was updated with a cheap processor from Intel. Now we will see what has changed in terms of performance, and how the technology has moved over 11 years. AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition is a 2009 ultra-top processor from AMD. The prefix Black Edition means that there is a free multiplier. At the start of sales, it cost $245. The frequency is 3200 MHz. The heat package is 125 watts. Supported memory is DDR3 1333. The Intel Core i3-8100 is a 2018 ultra-budget processor from Intel. The multiplier is blocked. At the start of sales, it cost $117, but in 2020 it continues to sell at the same price. The frequency is 3600 MHz. The heat package is 65 watts. Supported memory is DDR4 2400. Testing was performed in the programs AIDA64, 3DMark03, 3DMark05, and 3DMark06. I wanted to test it in 3DMark Vantage, but the AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition processor couldn't pass this test. Both processors were running Windows 7, the benefit of folk craftsmen successfully modify the drivers, since this operating system is no longer officially supported on this generation of processors. The first test is reading from memory. The difference in memory speed is clear, different generations. DDR4 RAM was 32% faster to read. Moreover, DDR3 memory worked in 2-channel mode, and DDR4 in single-channel mode. The second test is writing to memory. The write-to-memory operation resulted in a devastating difference. DDR4 memory was 2.24 times faster than DDR3. The third test is copying in memory. Copying in memory is also much faster in DDR4 1.48 times. The fourth test is memory latency. The memory latency of DDR4 is noticeably less and is only 0.82 of the latency of DDR3. The fifth test is CPU Queen. Processor tests begin. In this test, the Intel Core i3-8100 processor is 43% faster than the AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition. A noticeable gap. The sixth test is CPU PhotoWorks. In this test, the advantage of the Intel Core i3-8100 processor is 58%. The seventh test is CPU's lib. In this test, the processor from Intel Core i3-8100 breaks away from AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition by a significant 55%. The eighth test is CPU's strange and inexplicable monstrous superiority of Intel Core i3-8100 over AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition. 18 times. The ninth test is CPU SHA-3. Intel Core i3-8100 was faster than AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition by almost 1.9 times. The 10th test is FPU Julia. And again, the crushing defeat of AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition, Intel Core i3-8100 was faster by 3.66 times. The 11th test is FPU Mandel. In this test, the AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition processor was 4 times slower than the Intel Core i3-8100 processor. The 12th test is FPU San Julia. Here, the Intel Core i3-8100 processor was faster than the AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition processor by 1.5 times. The 13th test is FP32 Ray Trace. The Intel Core i3-8100 processor did not leave a chance for AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition and was 4.5 times faster. The 14th test is FP64 Ray Trace. Again, The Intel Core i3-8100 processor was faster, this time by 4.7 times. 15th test, 3 Marco 3 CPU tests overall. The Intel Core i3-8100 processor was 1.9 times faster. 16th test, 3 Marco 5 CPU tests overall. The Intel Core i3-8100 processor was 1.9 times faster again. 17th test, 3 Marco 6 CPU tests overall. The Intel Core i3-8100 processor was 1.65 times faster. Sum up. Processor cheap and relatively new entry-level processor Intel Core i3-8100 was faster than the flagship, but old processor AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition. The old man could not approach the novice in any of the tests. And in the CPU's test, the new processor was 18 times faster. Z is an encryption algorithm adopted as an encryption standard by the US government, so the Intel processor performs brilliantly in encryption. But even if you don't do encryption, in any case, if you have an AMD Phenom II X4 955 Black Edition processor or worse, you can safely upgrade your system with a cheap Intel Core i3-8100 processor.